Hi, you're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a life and success coach who specializes in helping working professionals and entrepreneurs overcome imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, you've come to the right place. I use social and cognitive psychology, neurolinguistic programming, and somatic healing to take my clients from imposter to empowered so they can go after the success that they want and feel worthy of it too. Let's dig in. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, mindset coach and the imposter syndrome coach. You can find me on Instagram at YourCoachJill. If you hear like a really annoying buzzing in the background, which this is a pretty decent mic, and I have one of those covers that helps reduce the background noise, but they are doing like a bunch of work on my street, and there's this low hum from the truck because it's on all day, and it's driving me insane. It's like those people that have called like something like tinnitus, I think it is. And tinnitus, I hope I'm saying that right. But it's when there's like a constant ringing in your ears, which I sometimes get, but not all the time. It just is this background noise by this truck, and it's driving me bonkers. But anyways, all good. Just put in my AirPods and really cancel out the world with that noise cancellation. It's so funny because when I got those AirPods, I think they're around like $300 because they're the advanced ones or whatever, and everybody was like, that's so expensive for headphones. I literally wear those things every single day. I wear them every day, sometimes for too many hours a day. I have to clean them all the time. You don't need to know that, but I just told you anyways. And I literally use them every day. So I just want you to know that you can trust yourself. You can trust yourself with decisions that you want to make. And investing in something that you think you're going to use all the time is definitely something that you should do, because I needed noise cancellation headphones because now that I know I have ADHD, I work so much better with just complete silence, but my brain likes to get distracted by other things. So anyways, what's new? So what's new is I am taking on one-to-one coaching clients. I am going until I am completely booked out. I've had some really amazing sales calls the last couple weeks, and I am just so excited to be working with these people and changing their lives. I had like a very magical moment after getting off a sales call with somebody where I was just like, money aside, and I don't think I'm ashamed to admit this, but a lot of my money stuff was always at the forefront. And now that I'm really clearing it and like working through it, I'm realizing how much my actual purpose is not grounded in making a lot of money. I obviously want to, like, of course I do. I want to make a lot of money. I want to travel. I want to do all of these things with my life. I am doing all the things with making a lot of money currently. Like I am doing it, and I love the money, and I'm not ashamed to say that, but it's just it's so much deeper for me. And once I cleared that money shit, because I was always worried that I was only in it for the money. I have an Instagram post from like last year at this time where I was afraid that I was in it for the money, because when I started out, it was more so to like pay off my debt. I was intrigued by coaching, but I wasn't sure where it would take me. And after working with so many amazing people, I realized how much my purpose is in helping women feel good enough and helping them realize their unique gifts and helping them step into the light instead of keeping their gifts hidden and their message hidden, and realizing that they have such a unique story and knowledge and experience. And like, I actually really care about that. And I don't say that in like I'm surprised that I care about people and I want them to thrive. It's just my survival brain in terms of money, and my survival brain in terms of like not wanting to be rejected or not wanting to fuck up because of imposter syndrome really didn't allow me to see that for the first like year and a half of my business. So I get really excited when I get on the phone with somebody and I'm just like so invested in them and their story. And if you were listening to the podcast episode last week with Jess, one of my one-to-one clients, she said like, you genuinely care about your clients. Like, you want them to succeed. And I've had another client who, she had experience with other coaches where she felt like after the coaching was over, they like kind of dropped off the face of the earth and she didn't really hear from them anymore. And she felt like they didn't want her to succeed, which is a her thing. That's not a them thing. Those are her thoughts, right? But she said, like, I feel so supported by you no matter what, and that you truly want me to succeed. Like, I think she had an offer that she was selling and we had stopped working together, and then I saw her new offer and I was like, oh my God, congrats, you're doing such a good job. Like, this is amazing. This is so unique. And she was like, I'm in awe that like you're sending me this after we're done working together. And I was like, okay, well, that's fucked up. What kind of coaches are you working? What kind of coaches have you been working with? But at the end of the day, like, I know that the money doesn't matter. Like, it does, because I want to support my life and do all that good shit. Of course I do. But like, if it was only about the money, I wouldn't still be doing this, and neither would you. Like, if it was just about the money, if you feel like sometimes it's just about the money, especially if you're like investing and you're not seeing a return yet or something like that, remember that like you would not be in this helping profession as a coach or even as a service provider or like, even if you're not a coach or not a service provider, even if you have a career, like you wouldn't be doing it without some type of deep purpose. And if you feel like you don't have a purpose there, you should obviously look at that. But sometimes it really can be clouded by survival brain, which we're going to talk about today. But I just wanted to start off with that, and I also wanted to say that I am taking one-to-one coaching clients, and this is the container to help you stop self-sabotaging, to help you not have those self-sabotaging I'm not good enough spin-outs on such a consistent basis, for you to feel really grounded and worthy in your work and what you do. And it is a safe space. It is a 6-month container for you to go all in on yourself and your thoughts and your beliefs, heal some shit that's been holding you back, heal all the shit that's been holding you back, and really step into your worthy woman identity, your expert identity. So you can go to the link in my show notes and book a free sales call with me and jump on the phone with me for an hour and let's talk. It's there's no obligation for us to work together. It's just to get to know each other and for me to see if it's a good fit to even work with me, because I just don't take anybody, you know? Like, I think that's something that you don't have to do, but it's something that is probably beneficial in the beginning of your coaching business. But now I don't fucking have to take anyone that I don't like. And I don't mean that I don't like people. I just, oh my God, I say the craziest shit on here, but like, it's not that I don't like people. It's just like, if we don't vibe and it's not a good fit, then like that is not going to serve either of us, right? So no obligation. I'm gonna love you. I don't know why I said that. I'm gonna love you. I love everybody. And it's so hard for me to not like somebody when I actually talk to them and hear their story and like relate to them. And you know what? That's also an ADHD thing, because sometimes I get suckered into people because I just have so much like empathy for them if they share stuff with me, and that has burned me a couple times where I thought someone was a nice person and they weren't. But anyways, you are a nice person. I know you are. So if you go to the link in my show notes, you can book a sales call with me. No obligation to join one-to-one coaching, but you're gonna want to. So go and do that. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how feeling like a fraud puts you in survival mode. So what do I mean by that? So in very basic terms, we're talking about fight or flight. You've heard me talk about this before on the podcast too, if you are an avid listener. In terms of with fight or flight, your body is going into a sympathetic nervous system response where you are on high alert. You are sensing danger. You're not calm, you're not content, you're not feeling good, you feel stressed, you feel anxious, you feel like there is danger, and your body is preparing you for that. There are a lot of people who run just on survival mode for a long time, and they end up having emotional burnout, mental burnout, etc. And I really feel like feeling like a fraud and all the things that come with that in terms of anxiety and fear in showing up if you're a coach or a service provider utilizing social media. There are a lot of nervous system deregulation experiences. It can be really scary showing up. Like I remember, well, I don't remember because it happened to me in the last couple months, but I was coming off like the anniversary of my house burning down and my cat passing away. And I was coming off of like a lot of things emotionally, and I was having a hard time showing up and showing my face, and I was like, ooh, there's something here. So when I was journaling about it, I was like, oh yeah, like I feel like I'm not being genuine, so it's hard for me to show my face right now because I'm like having a hard time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I still signed clients, I still did all of the things even with not completely showing my face, and I think that there's seasons in that as well. I can be just as compelling through text instead of just face to camera, but I feel like when you're in a heightened emotional state, you are in survival mode. And what happens there is it narrows your focus. So think about, there's this anxiety trick. When you're feeling really anxious, your brain wants to like focus in on that anxious thought or the thing that you're afraid of. And there's actually a trick where if you widen your eyes, it helps reset your nervous system because you are opening your eyes to see that there is no danger. So you should try that. If you are somebody who suffers with anxiety and like you feel like you're having an anxiety attack or having one of your spin outs, like just try for a second, just like widening your eyes and breathing, because it will send the signals to the brain that you are okay, that you are safe, that you are fine, that there is actually no physical danger. So when we're in survival mode, it narrows our focus. It puts up the blinders, but not in a good way. It puts up the blinders in terms of being like, we have to focus on this one thing to keep an eye on it to make sure that we don't spin the fuck out or so we're not in danger. And this makes you very short-sighted in your thoughts. And what happens here is you will only be looking at what you currently think and feel when you are in survival mode because it's narrowing your focus. Now, everybody always says we only have now. I say that all the time. We only have now. But this can be used against us. So in this case, let's take out the lesson that we only have right now, that we only have the present moment, because when you have anxiety or when you feel like a fraud, that's not going to be helpful information for you. Because all of this to say, when you are only looking at your current feelings and your current thoughts, and you are only in the current moment with anxiety about the future and how you're going to be impacted, you are not taking into consideration anything that has already happened in a good way. You are not taking into consideration your accomplishments, the things that you are known for, the things that you are an expert at, because your main focus is what's going to happen in the future. I've always said this as well, is imposter syndrome has you worried about not feeling good enough in the future. You think that you have to achieve in the future to be good enough, but everything else that you've already accomplished or that you've already done or that you're currently doing isn't good enough, right? But this happens to me a lot. When I'm feeling anxious, I'll only be able to hyper focus, and I also have ADHD, so that means that I also hyper focus on my emotional state. So if I'm feeling pretty anxious, I'm only thinking about, this is how I'm currently feeling and these are my current thoughts, and I'm going to be thinking and feeling this way forever. And that is not true. But that is what your brain is telling you. That is what your brain is hyper-focusing on. So it's really important to remember that when you feel like a fraud, you need to widen your focus. You need to mentally widen your focus and gain a bird's eye perspective of, okay, yeah, currently I'm having a hard time, but what else is true? And you can do this by even just thinking. You can do this by journaling. It's always good to just like brain dump your feelings. And if you are brain dumping verbally or brain dumping through journaling, really important to allow yourself to have the shitty thoughts. Allow yourself to dump things out without being like, I know I feel this way, but I shouldn't feel this way. I'm so privileged. I'm so lucky. All these things. It's like, okay, first we have to give yourself that validation, or you will keep coming back to the same thoughts and the same feelings because you're telling yourself you're not allowed to have those thoughts or allowed to have those feelings. You are. Your thoughts and feelings are completely valid. It doesn't mean they're true, but they can be valid. So when you are doing that, allow yourself to just get out everything you can without rationalization or telling yourself you're wrong or any of that stuff. But then really look at it and be like, what else is true? Even if all of this is true, I feel like a fraud, so I must be a fraud. What else is true? So for me, it would be like, I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I have years and years of experience in working with humans. I have volunteer experience. I have clients who I've worked with who I've changed their lives. Like there is so much evidence if you actually allow yourself to look at it. But when you widen the scope, when you widen your eyes and look at things from a bird's eye perspective, an external perspective, this will allow you to, again, widen your focus and get out of that survival mode. I also call this zooming out. So there are opportunities for you to zoom in and there are opportunities for you to zoom out. And when you are feeling anxious and feeling not good enough and in one of those self-sabotaging I'm not good enough spirals, whether you looked at somebody else's post or their content and you're starting to compare yourself, or whether you are trying to work on content and things just aren't working and you're telling yourself, I can't work on this content, which means I'm not good enough because I can't fucking get an Instagram post done in an hour. If that's happening, like really widen your focus. Really take time to be like, I'm only focusing on this one experience I'm having right now, but there is so much that I am not taking into consideration. So that would be a time for you to zoom out. Instead of zooming in on what you're currently doing and how this is the only thing that exists right now, remember that there are so many things that you are not considering. There are so many challenges you've overcome. There are so many reasons as to why you are good enough, why you are an expert, and why you are allowed to speak on what you're speaking about, and why you deserve a seat at the table that you are sitting at. And that to me is, again, an opportunity for you to zoom out instead of zooming in. Because again, when you feel like a fraud and you're in survival mode and those blinders are up and you're just looking at what's currently happening, it's just going to spin you out more. Even as a really simple example in terms of working on content, and then if you're having a really frustrating time, just taking a break and resetting and then coming back. I always do this with my writing. I always will do something and I will write something and I will think it's total garbage, and then I'll come back and read it and be like, this is really good. And it's just because my brain needs a reset. And I want you to remember that everything that you think is happening in the current moment, it doesn't have to actually mean anything, especially if there is heightened emotion or fear or anxiety, especially if you know that your one track of thought is usually I'm not good enough. You know your brain is just trying to tell you stories, and you're better than that. You're smarter than that, and you know that even if your fucking brain, even if your inner imposter is telling you this right now, it doesn't mean it's the truth. Just because you feel like a fraud, it doesn't mean you are a fraud. Just because you have the thoughts of I'm not good enough, I'm not going to be able to do this, or I'm not capable of this, I'm not capable of being a coach, I can't show up all the time, this is so frustrating, what if I'm not good enough, I don't have any clients, I'm not getting results, does that mean I'm not good enough? These are just thoughts. They are not your truth. So, I love you guys. And a reminder that one-to-one coaching, there are spots available for one-to-one coaching, and you can book a sales call with me at the link in my show notes. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Thanks for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to find out how you can take this work deeper with me in one-to-one coaching or in my lifetime group coaching program, The Worthy Woman Method. In the show notes, you'll also find a free 3-day challenge to start the process of overcoming your inner imposter. And once you're done with that, screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging me at YourCoachJill so we can connect. See you next time.